Hi all, welcome back. So today's topic is blepharitis. Today I'm dealing with an eyelid disease. Okay, so till now we were talking about the disease of lacrimal apparatus. Today I'm going to deal with disease of eyelid, that is blepharitis. So from the name itself, blepharitis. So blepharitis means blepha means it's eyelid, related to eyelid. So it is blepharitis. If you see eyelid diseases, you can understand blepharospasm. So that is related to eyelid. So blepharitis, it's an inflammation of eyelid, that is blepharitis. It's a small topic and very easy to understand also. So what is a blepharitis? It's a subacute or chronic inflammation of the lid margin. So it's a extremely common disease, and there are 5 types of blepharitis. First one is seborrheic or squamous blepharitis. Second one is staphylococcal or ulcerative blepharitis. Third one is a mixed variety of seborrheic and staphylococcal blepharitis. Fourth one, posterior blepharitis or mebomitis. And fifth one is parasitic blepharitis. So these are the types of blepharitis. So there are 5 types of blepharitis. We'll go in detail. First one is seborrheic or squamous blepharitis. The causes for seborrheic blepharitis are seborrhea. Seborrhea, you know, right? Seborrhea of scalp is nothing but dandruff. So it is usually associated with dandruff of head. It can fall from head to eyelashes. So that is a first cause. Second is metabolic factors. Metabolic factors can play an important role in etiology. So for dandruff also same, and for blepharitis also, seborrheic blepharitis also same. Metabolic factors can also play a role in causing seborrhea. What happens in seborrheic blepharitis? Here the glands of cysts secrete abnormal excessive neutral lipids, which can be split by Corynebacterium acne into irritating free fatty acid. So this gland of cysts you know, right? You can see here gland of cyst and gland of mole is present in the root of the eyelashes. So this gland of cyst, will secrete a lipid that is split by Corynebacterium into irritating free fatty acids. So that will got deposited in the root of these eyelashes. That causes the seborrhea or seborrheic blepharitis. So these are the causes and how it is happening. So next comes the symptoms. Patient will complain about a deposition of white material at the lid margin. Also there will be mild discomfort, irritation, occasional watering. Watering will be there, and a history of falling of eyelashes, like hair only. Hair fall will be there associated with dandruff. Here eyelashes will fall. So there will be, the patient complains about a deposition of white material in the root or in the lid margin, and there will be mild discomfort, irritation, and watering of a eye, watering, and also there will be falling of eyelashes. These are the symptoms of seborrheic blepharitis. Next comes, so in this picture you can see like this, it will appear in the root of the eyelashes or in the lid margin. You can see whitish deposition. So signs: accumulation of white dandruff-like scales are seen on the lid margin. If the patient comes and when we examine, we can see dandruff-like structures in the eyelashes. And when we remove the scales, on removing the scales, underlying surface is found to be hyperemia. There will be redness. If you remove the scales, we can see redness over that eyelid. And there won't be any ulcers, only redness will be there. The lashes fall out easily, but usually replaced quickly. So easily eyelashes will fall, but it will replace quickly. In long-standing cases, lid margin is thickened. If it is becoming chronic or it is long-standing, means the eyelid become thickened and the sharp posterior border tends to be rounded leading to epiphora. If you see the lid margin, you can see this origin of eyelashes, that is anterior border, and this sharp portion which touches the sclera, that is the posterior border. In long-standing cases, the sharp posterior border become rounded leading to epiphora. So it can't withstand tear there, so epiphora will be there. Epiphora is watering of eye. So these are the signs of seborrheic blepharitis. So there will be, we can see accumulation of white dandruff-like structure in the eyelashes. If you remove that scales, you can see hyperemia underneath, and the lashes will fall off quickly and can replace also quickly. And long-standing cases, the lid margin will be thickened and the sharp posterior border become rounded and there will be epiphora. So these are the signs of seborrheic or squamous blepharitis. Next comes the treatment for seborrheic or squamous blepharitis. First, general measures, improvement of health and balanced diet should be advised. And if there is dandruff associated with this one, we have to treat first that one. Then what local measures or local treatment? First, we have to remove the scales. Before removing the scales, we have to apply lukewarm solution of 3% soda bicarb or baby shampoo on the eyelid margin. After that, remove the scales. Then it is easy to remove the scales. And frequent application of combined antibiotic and steroid eye ointment. In lid margin, they used to give combined antibiotic and steroid eye ointment. So general measures like general improvement of health and balanced diet and associated seborrhea of the scalp should be treated. And local treatment is, first we have to remove the scales after applying 3% soda bicarb or baby shampoo, and after that we can rub a antibiotic and a combination of antibiotic and steroid eye ointment in the lid margin. So that's a seborrheic blepharitis. The second type is ulcerative blepharitis. Causes for ulcerative blepharitis are chronic staphylococcal infections. Chronic staphylococcal infection of the lid margin, that is a positive strain bacteria. So that is the main cause for ulcerative blepharitis. So chronic staphylococcal infection. The disorder usually starts in childhood and may continue throughout life, and the predisposing factor for this ulcerative blepharitis are chronic conjunctivitis and acrocystitis. There will be chronic conjunctivitis and acrocystitis. From there, it passes through the eyelid and causes ulcerative blepharitis, chronic staphylococcal infection, and that will lead to ulcerative blepharitis. So these are the causes for ulcerative blepharitis. And symptoms. These include chronic irritation, itching, mild lacrimation, watering, gluing of the cilia, and photophobia. Gluing of the cilia means sticking of the cilia. Photophobia means irritation towards light. They can't see light. So that is photophobia. These symptoms are worse in the morning. While getting up, these symptoms will be more. So there will be irritation, itching, mild lacrimation, and gluing of cilia and photophobia in ulcerative blepharitis. Signs: yellow crust are seen at the root of cilia which glue them together. So yellow crust are seen at the root of the cilia or eyelashes and glue them together. Will stick them together. Small ulcers which bleed easily are seen on removing the crust. If we remove the crust, small ulcers can be seen and that will bleed fastly. In between the crust, anterior lid margin show dilated blood vessels. So in between this crust, in the anterior margin, we can see dilated blood vessels. You can see that in this picture. See, this is ulcerative blepharitis. You can see yellowish crust, and if you remove the crust, there will be ulcer and it will bleed easily, and here you can see gluing of the cilia sticking together. So these are the signs and symptoms of ulcerative blepharitis. Complication and sequelae. Complications are, these are seen in long-standing cases, include chronic conjunctivitis, madarosis. Madarosis means absence of lashes. In some area, the lashes will be absent. Trichiasis. Trichiasis means misdirected cilia. Cilia will be misdirected, not in the normal pattern. It will misdirect inside, outwards like that. Poliosis. Poliosis is graying of lashes. Tylosis. Tylosis means thickening of the lid margin, and eversion of puncta. Eversion of puncta leading to epiphora. If that epiphora lasts long, prolonged watering can causes eczema of skin and ectropion. So this causes ectropion, eczema of the skin and ectropion, prolonged watering. So these are the complications of ulcerative blepharitis. So there will be chronic conjunctivitis, madarosis, absence of lashes, madarosis, trichiasis, misdirected cilia, poliosis, tylosis, and eversion of puncta leading to epiphora. Due to that, there will be eczema of skin and ectropion. Ectropion is outward turning of lid margin, and there will be recurrent stye. There is a chance of getting recurrent stye also. So that is also one complication. So these are the complications of ulcerative blepharitis. Next comes treatment. It should be treatment to avoid. It should be treated to avoid complications. So first we have to remove the crust after softening and hot compresses with solution of 3% soda bicarb. So here also we have to first soften the crust using solution of 3% soda bicarb. After that we have to remove the crust. Antibiotic ointment should be applied at the lid margin immediately after removal of crust, at least twice daily. So twice daily we have to do this. First remove the crust, after that antibiotic ointment should be applied. Antibiotic eye drops can be instilled. Avoid rubbing of eyes and fingering of the lids. Oral antibiotics can be given, and oral anti-inflammatory drugs can be given. So these are the treatments. So first we have to treat accordingly to avoid the complications. Then for treatment we have to first soften the crust using 3% soda bicarb, and after that we have to remove, and then we have to apply antibiotic ointment, and antibiotic eye drops can be given. Rubbing of the eyelids and fingering of the lids can be avoided. Oral antibiotics and oral anti-inflammatory drugs are given. So these are the treatments for ulcerative blepharitis. Next come posterior blepharitis or mebomitis. In between there is a mixed variety. There you can see both seborrheic blepharitis and staphylococcal blepharitis, a combined symptoms and all, and accordingly we have to give the treatment. So next comes the posterior blepharitis or mebomitis. That is divided into chronic mebomitis and acute mebomitis. First one is chronic mebomitis. Here there will be meibomian gland dysfunction, seen more commonly in middle-aged person with acne, rosacea and seborrheic dermatitis. So along with these two, in middle-aged people we can see this chronic meibomitis, and it is characterized by foam-like secretion, white frothy or foam-like secretion on the lid margins and canthus, medial and lateral canthi you can see, and in lid margins you can see foam-like secretions. On eversion of eyelids, in conjunctiva you can see vertical yellowish streaks, and at the lid margin in the opening of the meibomian gland we can see thick prominent secretions. So in this picture you can see this is the lid margin. So these are the openings of the meibomian gland. You can see thick secretion in the opening of the meibomian gland. So these are chronic meibomitis. So here you can see white frothy or foam-like secretion on the lid margins and canthi. On eversion of the eyelid, if we evert, we can see in conjunctiva yellowish streaks, and in the lid margin you can see near the opening of the meibomian gland there will be prominent thick secretions. So next comes the acute meibomitis. Acute meibomitis is an acute infection due to staphylococcal infection. So treatment of meibomitis, First one is we have to express, the content should be expressed out of the gland, expression of the glands by repeated vertical lid massage. First we have to, this is the position of meibomian gland, like this meibomian gland is present, so we have to rub vertically over the lid for expression of the glands, followed by rubbing of antibiotic steroid ointment at the lid margin. After that we can apply in the lid margin antibiotic steroid ointments. So antibiotic eye drops can be given, systemic antibiotics can be given, erythromycin. Okay, these are the treatments of meibomitis. So first we have to remove the contents of the meibomian gland by vertical massage over the lid, and after that we have to apply antibiotic steroid ointment on the base, means on the opening of meibomian gland in the lid margin. Then we can give antibiotic eye drops, and systemic antibiotics can also be internally also we have to give antibiotics. So that is posterior blepharitis. Next comes the parasitic blepharitis. So here it refers to chronic blepharitis associated with Demodex folliculorum infection and Theriasis palpebrum. So that due to crab loose, very rarely to the head loose. So lice, you all know lice in the head, right? Like that, some organisms are there, small insects are there, Demodex and Theriasis. See these two, Demodex and Theriasis. So these can cause parasitic blepharitis. So nits, these are nits, like head lice. In addition to the features of chronic blepharitis, it is characterized by presence of nits at the lid margin and at the roots of eyelashes. So chronic blepharitis symptoms only you can see here. Along with that, we can see the presence of these nits in the eyelid margin or in the root of the eyelashes. So in parasitic blepharitis, we have to, the treatment is, first we have to mechanical removal of nits. We have to remove nits with forceps, followed by rubbing of antibiotic ointment on the lid margin and delousing of patient, other family members, clothing and bedding. So if in the head, if we have nits also, what we'll do, we'll remove that, and after that, like that only in eyelashes also, if it is there, we have to remove that one, and after that we have to rub with antibiotic ointment on lid margin. So that is parasitic blepharitis. These are the treatments. So thank you. This is all about blepharitis. It's a small topic. Hope you all understood. Go through it, make notes of all these things. So thank you all. Have a nice day. See you all in next video. Bye.